This is going to suck. So, my name's Taylor, and most of you know me, most of you don't know me, but if you don't know me, then my name's Taylor Johnson, and I have another business called Upper Light Studios, and that's just where I do a lot of my videography, cinematography, and a lot of photography as well. But I've always had this vision that I was helping people and giving them advice that's my age and my generation, because a lot of us don't have that type of advice or that type of support system that can help us through a lot of things that never really was open to us, or not a lot of resources. And so I'm gonna take that step. Yeah, I'm not old enough, like I'm not older or anything like that, but I'm like 20 years old and I've been through a lot for somebody my age. And so I just feel like it's better for me to give advice to other people that are my age or going to be my age or in my generation as a whole. So I just want to share with you guys how I went from being a top 10 student to crashing and burning in college. So I graduated high school. I went to CVS, Chicago Vocational Career Academy, if anybody didn't know. And so that's CVCA, but we call it CVS. And so I graduated from CVS at top 10% in my class. I was an A, B, occasional C student in math, but I mean, it's math, so, that's a given. So, like, I glided right through school. I wasn't the type of kid that was really into school. Like, if there was any other alternative than high school and grade school and junior high, then I probably would have taken it. But actually, I liked to go to school because I was around other people my age, and I didn't like really being in the house, even though I did have my fair share of absences. I always didn't want to go to school. Most of the time I was feeling sick, like I really was feeling sick, or I just didn't want to go. And so it wasn't me, it was just kind of how I was. Like, I'm not the kid that would go and try and rush to be at the top 10%. Like, it just got there. I got there because I go to school, do my work. I never did homework, but somehow it just happens. Maybe it's just, I don't know, but I was at the top 10%. I would start at 11 and I ended at 9, and it was just me doing my work. But I was the type of kid that kind of knew where I was going. Like, I always knew I had this vision that I was always going to be, like, out of Chicago, because I do want to be out of Chicago. I don't like being in Chicago. And so, like, I had this vision that I was going to be gone. I was going to finish school and I was going to have my life. And I don't know where I was going to go, but I knew I was going to be somewhere. And so I ended up going to my dream school, University of Iowa. I didn't do well on the ACT. I had a 15. I'm a crappy test taker. I didn't like taking tests because it just gives me anxiety. I just think too much, and that's just one of my flaws. But I had a 15 on the ACT, and my parents was like, retake it over. And I'm like, no, that's the one time I'm doing it, and that's it. I'll figure it. If I get into a college that doesn't accept the ACT, then I'll do that, or maybe my grades will get me in there. But I didn't like the thought of being tested on my academic knowledge through a standardized test that can help me either make me or break me and get me into a school of my choice or a school that I just have to go to. I just didn't like that. So I did my research, because I was very adamant about not going to CV, like not doing ACT. And so I went and I researched, and I remember that my stepdad went to University of Iowa, and I remember going to Iowa like one time, but I just didn't really know much about Iowa. But I did my research on University of Iowa, and it was just this feeling of like joy and happiness that I got from just looking at it. Then, I applied and I got accepted. Like, I had to show my parents that a number doesn't, judge who or where I go for my future. And so I got in there and we scheduled a visit. Right when I walked into Iowa, I just knew it was home. You know, like, I didn't really care. Like, you can't avoid, I didn't want to go to college at first anyway, you know, because of the loans and stuff like that, but you can't avoid loans, you know, like, if you want to do something, it's going to be a way for you to pay it off, or it's just a loan, you know. It's not like it's not like you're bound to it forever. Like, it's either going to be there when you pay it, or you're just going to let it sit there and ruin your credit. But I'm not going to get into that. But I got there, I was happy. It was just the place I wanted to be. My counselor kept telling me I was too expensive, go down south. I didn't want to go down south. It was just not really it's not really me. Like, I like the South, but Iowa's just what I like. I like the Midwest, you know. I don't like the Midwest, but I like the Midwest, and Iowa's just my place. I found my home there. And so I did my best. I got the loans. It was a lot of money. And I went there that day, and I went there on August 17th. I'm going to say that. And I just couldn't believe that I was away from home. You know, I'm an only child. And I was always pampered. I'm a spoiled kid. You know, I was the baby. I'm the baby of this family. And, you know, it's me. Like, I couldn't fathom being away from my mom, being away from my grandma, being away from my family. But, you know, I did it because I'm technically the first generation college student. And, you know, my grandma went to college, but technically they see me as a first generation, like, going away to college, like going out of state. So I'm the first generation of out of state college, you know. And I had that on my shoulders, and I had the fact that, you know, I am away at a school where, you know, it wasn't a lot of me. Like, you know, it was PWI, a predominantly white institution. It wasn't a HBCU, so that was another thing. And, you know, like, I was happy with where I was going. You know, I didn't think about it too much. I just knew that I was away, and it was something that I really wanted to be. So fast forward, I met my roommate. And so I met her during the summertime, and she seemed like a good person, you know, like, you don't judge a book by its cover. We hung out, she was cool or whatever, you know, it was all fine and dandy. This is my first roommate, to be exact. And so we get to school, she, you know, she was cool. Then we met another girl or something like that, and, like, when I tell you classes start, we're all good or whatever, she changes. And I found a job on campus because I'm just easy. I found a job, I need money, you know. I like my own money. And so I go to school, and I go to class, and I go to work. She, on the other hand, I'm thinking everything's good, and she just suddenly switches on her real self. I guess she put on a mask for me or something like that. I don't know. But she switches on her real self. You know, I try to talk to her, I try to say handstand, but she just gives me this attitude, or she gives me this weird looks or whatever, and then she starts, like, talking about me and claiming that I'm crazy and I do stuff to piss her off, and picking fights with her and stuff. And that's not what the case was. So, like, it's like I went from living in this this world where I'm happy, I'm finally at school, I'm on my own, I'm learning how to live and everything like that, and then I got this crazy roommate that just giving me hell. And so, like, that's just like the first part. And down the line, she starts spreading rumors, because I lived on a YG before, Young, Gifted, and Black. That means that I lived on this floor, and there's a bunch of black people on this floor. We all either from Chicago or Iowa or, like, surrounding cities. And so she goes around telling them that I'm the problem. Like, she says I'm weird and I do all this other stuff. But what really all in actuality was that I was going to school, and I'm going to work, and I'm going home, and I'm going back in my room. Me, I wasn't much of a party type, you know, like, I like to hang out with my friends, but I'm not gonna go out and spend all this extra money on the drink and stuff like that. That just wasn't me. But everybody knew that. They just kind of got that vibe from me. They vibed with me, and they knew who I was. So she then gives me this down the line. This is like months later, you know, like like she's doing stuff that, you know, makes me angry and all this other stuff, and I'm just documenting it and I'm telling my RA. So like fast forward to when she gives me this roommate agreement, and okay, because that just really, now I'm thinking about it, it's making me mad. But she gives me the roommate agreement, and the roommate agreement says that during these times, she's asleep or something, I can't use the sink. Like, if I want to brush my teeth in my room, because we had sinks in our room, I couldn't do it anymore because she said it bothered her. Other times, she says that I do, like, I don't remember the roommate agreement because, like, that's just the past and I just can't even. So, like, next big thing, because I'm dotting off the big things that happen, you know, like, I eventually bought my own TV because she bought a TV. I bought a Android TV, but like, it's not an Android TV, but like, it's like a Roku TV. And so I bought that. I moved her TV to the side of her room because what I started to do was take all my stuff that she was using because she didn't like me and she was giving me issues. I started taking it away, and she was starting to get mad, and she was watching TV in her corner, but she couldn't watch my TV. And so then when I get my TV, I move my futon, because I brought the futon, I brought the TV, I brought my own microwave and fridge, because I just wasn't doing it. Like, that's just not, no, I'm not. My parents brought my microwave and fridge for me, and so I just could not do it. No. And so I did all that. I moved my room into where I was, and then she went ballistic. I moved my futon, I moved everything into my side of the room, and she went ballistic. She tried to fight me because she figured that everything that I had was hers too. So she like went and grabbed my desk and she slammed it into the wall. She went and she was charging at me because I moved my desk and my TV and my dresser to the side of my room. And that shook me because it's this big girl and I'm like small. I'm small frame. So like I ran because I didn't really run. I kind of sprinted because it was like I wasn't scared. It was more like I'm just not going to put myself in that position. If she hits me, then that's a whole nother thing. But like I went to get my RA because she had a mental breakdown because I moved my stuff. And so like I went and got that. I had that situation. It was more stuff that happened, but like really that was really like the deal breaker. Like it took her a long time to get out of my room, and I had my room to myself for a while because they couldn't find a roommate for me. But then down the line, I found I had the best roommate after that. You know, like I did the right thing. I stayed on that floor. Everybody realized that I was not the problem. And because I presented myself as not the problem. I went to school and I went to work and I went to my room. And she, on the other hand, nobody liked her because she didn't like them. And so she always used to talk mess about them and get angry at them and stuff like that. Like, it was totally two different people. And they knew that she was the problem when she had a mental breakdown in front of the whole floor. And so she couldn't present me as a problem anymore because she made herself the problem. And so, like, I just want to say that, you know, like, for a lesson for that is that, you know, you act like what you want to be, you know, act like who people want to be around. And so, you know, like I had that happen to me, that shook me, that ruined my grades because I was dealing with such a toxic situation. I don't like living in toxic environments. So like when it's a toxic environment, it bothers me. And so after that, I had the best roommate experience before I left. And like we still talk to this day because she's like one of the best people that I know. She was so nice. I let her know what happened and she was just like, nah, I ain't gonna be like that. She's like, she had a similar situation herself, and so it's like we both bonded and we both had a good experience and stuff until I had to leave. She didn't even want me to leave because she wanted me to be her roommate because we had such a good agreement. We like helped each other. I ordered food for her when I had food. We went always just to go snack runs and stuff. Like it was one of the warming feelings, like one of the good experiences I had in my since I was there. And so after that, I did, the biggest issue was like bring my relationship down to school. And so like I don't want to talk too much about that, but you know, that was another thing that kind of was helped me with, like, brought me down. You know, it aided to my downfall. And so like I don't want to think about that because it took a lot to get over that part. But you know, like don't do that. You know, like don't bring relationships or anything like that to something that was a good thing for you. You know, it kind of aided and really put a damper on me and made my grades drop. You know, like I had a lot of stuff happen to me down there because I brought my relationships. I was in a toxic environment. You know, me and my parents, you know, it was bad communication with other stuff. And you know, so it's like I went down there thinking that I had it handled and I didn't. And so that really brought me down to where I had 4 Fs. You know, I had 4 Fs. I went from being a top 10 student, never failing a class, never doing anything like that, to having 4 Fs in college. Because I just kind of lost myself. I lost my identity. You know, I came home shooken up because I didn't know what I wanted to do. You know, I didn't know who I was because I lost myself down there. You know, going away from home was something that I probably shouldn't have done because I wasn't prepared for it. And so what I want to, you know, say is like times get tough, but you gotta keep it pushing. I had to keep it pushing. I seen myself laying in my bed just playing video games, listening to music. You know, I was like always down. I was always down. You know, I didn't really think that I was that type of person. It scared me. And so when you let situations like that kind of if you keep them going, if you keep aiding them, if you keep enabling them, if you don't start your action, to like take action into what your situation is, then it's going to hurt you. And so I had to realize that. I eventually, down the line, I had to work on my mental health because I fell into a depression. Like I fell into a deep depression. And I just never wanted to do anything. Everything that happened that went wrong, and it always thought if something doesn't go right, it's just never going to go right. I couldn't get back into school right when I came back home because of my grades. Then I realized maybe I have to start over, but I didn't want to start over. But I eventually did. You know, I let everything that defined me, I washed it away. And I reinvented myself. Because what you have to do is not let everything that happened to you fall on you. Like, you gotta wash it off your shoulders. And I had to really understand that. And so I'm starting school now in like a week. And I'm starting school in East West University, and I'm happy because they gave me a scholarship, so I don't have to take any loans out. You know, that's a weight off my shoulder. I started my own business, Uplight Studios, because I had to reinvent myself. I lost a lot of friends, but that's a learning experience. But, you know, this is just me telling my story because it's a lot of people probably going through everything I just went through. And they don't know how to deal with it, or they don't know who to talk to, they don't know where to go, they don't know how to do it. So I just this is just me starting off a channel where I can help everybody, you know, understand that you're not alone. Because I felt alone. And I have the most loving family in the world, but I felt alone because I didn't know how to talk to somebody, or I didn't know what to do, what steps to take, because nobody knew what to do. Like, they just kind of knew how to help me. So, you know, this is me telling my story so other people can, you know, either learn from it or grow from it. And so, you know, I'm going to be starting a lot of videos. I'm going to make a lot of videos with tips and tricks and frequently asked questions, because a lot of people talk to me about my story and they learn from something from that. So, you know, I just want to, you know, offer my story, and this is just the end. So I just want to say thanks, guys, for watching, and, you know, like and subscribe, and hope you come back.